Good evening, fellow Plexers. Tonight we're going to help out Greg from the Plex Pals Facebook group. He's having trouble getting the show The Bear and Outlander into Plex. And someone in the thread suggested he needs his own show folders, which it doesn't look like he has. And we're going to go through all the steps to make sure these two series add. We're going to use my older Synology NAS with a test Plex server on it, and I'm going to use some dummy files. So to start off with, I have a nested folder structure. So if I back up, I have one shared media folder on this Synology NAS, and then in it I have sort folders for each type of Plex library type. They're kind of named so you know exactly what they are. My own server, they're named more simply. So if I go into the sort folder for multiple TV show libraries, these are individual TV show libraries where you can point media to. So everything in here would be my main TV show library, a kids TV show library, one used just to DVR, and one for anime if you want. So I'll start with these 4 files here. And let's create a folder called The Bear. And let's create one more called Outlander. These are just little short video files of me saying something. Good evening, fellow Plexers. Just 5 seconds long. I call them dummy files, just so I can quickly recreate someone's issue. So I'm going to copy that in here, paste them, and they're already set up for season 01, E01, and so on, but not labeled anywhere past that. So now I'll put the same files, let me just copy them, into this folder. Into this folder, The Bear. So now we have the same setup. So they're all simply named. What I want to do first is show Greg that even with poor file names, these 2 shows should add to my movie library. So let me bring up Plex first of all. And let me change away from my normal server over to this test server, and we'll go to the TV show library, and there's just 3 public domain, or 3 shows with public domain episodes in it. All right, so I'm going to cut and paste these into the library structure, and this server is set up to scan automatically when it detects media change. So you see the activity, it's scanning the shows in, and even with kind of a poor file structure, or let's say it's not so much poor, it's not fully compliant. Even with a structure not fully compliant, Plex knows what it is and found it. Now everything I name to TVDB. I pretend TMDB does not exist because there's some benefits to TVDB that I talk about all the time, like some virtual TV series. Old movie serial cartoons like Looney Tunes, The Tom and Jerry Show, MGM cartoons, and there's some others I'm blanking on, do not exist at the movie database as a TV show because they're very strict. TVDB allows these virtual series in their database, and it really helps out a Plex user if you want to take all that Looney Tunes content and organize it as a fake TV show to have it in one spot. And actually the year for the first episode would be season space 1929 for the first Looney Tunes movie short. All right, so anyway, that's the setup. Before I go here, I'm going to manage and edit the library, go to advanced, and everyone should be using Plex TV series for the scanner and Plex series for the agent. And the only change I make is I pull episode ordering from the TVDB because, again, I pretend the movie database doesn't exist for TV shows, but I use it as my naming guide for movies. So it's really that easy. So let me pull those two shows out again. And I have plenty of FileBot tutorials, so this really won't be one, but I'll rename these with FileBot, but I want to show you that the media is gone. Now, if you really want a clean slate, do this. Scan the library, empty its trash, go to the settings, troubleshooting, clean the bundles. And then when you add the media back in, that's part of doing the Plex dance, and that removes any lingering metadata from when the show was in there first. But I don't think Greg will have to do that. I think he just needs to get his episodes in the right folder. So I'm going to use FileBot, and I apologize, FileBot just doesn't scale up. It's kind of hard to read. So it looks like it's all just season 01 twice and everything, but FileBot will know what to do. So FileBot has a default expression. I have to hold down the Shift key to see it. Organize episodes for Plex. All right, so it knows these are Outlander. I'll select yes. And if you hover your mouse over, it'll show you more info. Like the show started in 2014, so you can confirm you've got the right show. And this obviously is the right one because we see the poster. This one is a short animated television film from years ago. So the FileBot default expression wants to create a media folder named Media with capital M, and then a library folder called TV Shows, and then it creates the rest of the structure, pulling naming from TMDB and using the source ID. I don't bother with a source ID in a TV show library. I just make sure the year's included in the title, which this is not doing. So let me use my default expression. So we'll go through the same thing. We'll select Outlander, select the beer. And now this renames in place by creating structure. So we'll create the Outlander season folder with the year properly. And I'm a stickler. It's always season 01, not season space 1. And then it's got the show name again with a year, the normal separator of a space dash space. Again, that separator with the episode name. And my expression throws in extra media characteristics. So let's rename all this. Oh, I'll have to refresh my browser. And now you see Outlander with a year, season 01. And then these are nice descriptive episodes. Plex's series guide tells us to put any extra information into brackets in the episode file name, and Plex will ignore that extra information. That's not a rule in a movie library, so we use versioning instead over there, but that's a different discussion. And the same for the beer. Nice descriptive file names, fully Plex compliant, can't miss on a scan. And again, because I'm naming from TVDB, the episode ordering is set to TVDB instead of the default, the movie database. But if you love the movie database, you can use that. And you can modify my custom expression to name from TMDB, just like FileBots does. But again, my name's in place and doesn't create that other folder structure. All right, so let me slip them back into that main TV show library. And we'll see that this server will automatically scan again. Oopsie daisy. And both shows added properly. So Greg, you were almost there. Your file names were close enough, but I'd like to see you get even more compliant. It can't hurt. It's a good foundation. And one last thing, if you happen to rip from TMDB, or I'm sorry, if you rip your DVDs and Blu-rays, let me do this last thing, and you can look up any of my FileBot tutorials on my channel. Let me edit an expression. I'm going to edit this one that creates structure from AirDate. So every FileBot video I have has all my different expressions in the description. So if you pick a newer FileBot video, you'll see my latest expressions. I could just redo this expression, name it something different, TV series space dash space TVD structure by DVD, and see where it says episode ordering, you change that to DVD. And then you have two expressions, one for people who rip and one for people who, let's say DVR, because it'd be the air date order. So that's about it. I'm going to get this on YouTube and out to Greg. He may have already fixed things manually, but I wanted to give a more fuller explanation for him. Happy plexing.